International tourists and South African citizens want to see an end to trophy hunting and in favour of wildlife-friendly experiences. That's according to a survey by the World Animal Protection looking into public attitude towards trophy hunting. Now, that survey comes at the back of South Africa's decision to open up consultations on its draft conservation and sustainable use of South Africa's biodiversity white paper. For more on the key findings of this survey, we're joined by World Animal Protection's Wildlife Campaign Manager, Edith Kabesiime. Thank you very much for your time this evening, Edith. Apart from the fact that there is a portion of those who were interviewed in the survey, what were some of the other key findings that were revealed after the survey was concluded? Edith, I think you might still have you muted yourself. You could just check there. We can't
Sorry.
see. There you are. Please continue with your answer.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, really, apart from the key findings that international tourists and South Africans don't want to see trophy hunting continue, the other findings is that both segments of the population or the respondents were quite positive in terms of what they see as alternatives. For instance, sanctuaries that are friendly to wildlife, promoting photographic tourism as an alternative, so that at the end of the day, really, we have a wildlife sector for South Africa that is wildlife friendly, rather than promoting lethal approaches such as trophy hunting.
Let's talk about the economic implications that this may have. There are, even though it is not ideal, some legal establishments that allow for this kind of tourism activity to take place. Did the survey look into that at all, or is it focusing on just finding alternative ways to have people come to South Africa and enjoy the wildlife without necessarily hurting or killing it?
This specific survey, I must say, was really focused on people's attitudes. We did not go deeper to dig into the economic implications. But of course, we are aware that closing down such an industry will require a lot of really thinking, a lot of planning, a lot of adjustments, a lot of consultations with the stakeholders involved. And a phased approach is really what we recommend as a way forward, much as we did not go into the really looking deeper into the economic implications. But of course, closing down this industry is really what it would take.
The survey does make commentary around there needing to be decisive action around creating these alternative tourist appreciations for those who come and enjoy our wildlife. But in the past, we've seen it is difficult for our government to implement decisive policies that benefit not only the economy, but the people who live in it. Do you think that the South African government would engage some of the recommendations when it comes to moving towards the rejection of the cruelty and the deaths of animals that we've seen over the last few years?
Yeah, of course, we have a bad experience where governments, including our own, South African government, have made commitments and then they have not followed through. Like an example is the announcement last year when the Minister for Environment announced that they would close down the captive lion breeding industry, but up now we have not seen really significant steps being taken. But of course, that is not to say that we shouldn't continue to pressurize them. We should continue dialogue, we should continue consultation, and I think really government has the mandate and they should have the political will to implement some of these recommendations, and of course some of the commitments that they have made in the past.
Talk us through how many people were surveyed and if they were exclusively South African or if it were tourists that had made their way to South Africa on more than one occasion to enjoy the wildlife and biodiversity.
So basically this survey covered actually to be precise, 10,900 people across the globe. For South Africa, we covered 1,111 people. And these were of course, sampled from the 9 provinces, with Gauteng and Natal being really the area where we had the biggest number of respondents. but of course we covered all the other 7 provinces as well. In terms of the gender, we have both at globally, but also with South African citizens. The respondents were split between 51% female and 49% females. And of course, they were also came from different geographies, rural, semi-rural, as well as big cities. And then in terms of the global survey, we surveyed 10 countries, and these are basically the countries where a majority of South African tourists come from: Germany, Brazil, the USA, the UK, the Netherlands, Australia, India, and France, and of course Canada. And in terms of, if you look at the results, majority of the if you look at the results, both at the global level but also inside South Africa, there was there was coherence in terms of the findings, in terms of the attitudes, and there was really a general agreement that indeed South Africa needs to move. So basically, you are asking how many people we surveyed. Yes, it was just over 10,000 people, and for each country we covered around 1,000 people. In terms of the tourists, we asked those tourists who have been in South Africa, and those represented roughly around, I think around 12%. And then the rest, around 88%, there were those who have intentions of traveling to South Africa in the near future. And of course, there were those who are not, whoever said they have never traveled to South Africa, they didn't have intentions of traveling to South Africa in the near future. We did not subject the questions to them. We dropped them. So basically, we focused on those, either those who have been in South Africa or those who have intentions of going to South Africa in the near future.
Is there any country, whether it be sub-Saharan Africa or otherwise, Edith, that South Africa could learn from in terms of initiating these alternative tourism opportunities for the betterment of the wildlife and biodiversity? Or do you find that other governments across sub-Saharan Africa are struggling to make that transition as well?
In the past, there have been some countries, like my own country, Uganda, we do not do trophy hunting. It's the same thing in Kenya, and these 2 countries are some of Africa's examples where we really have, a vibrant nature-based tourism, and we believe South Africa could borrow a leaf from there. But of course, that is not to say that it doesn't come with challenges. The challenges will be there, but I think we need to make that commitment, because every life and every animal matters. Every life matters. Every animal plays a role in the ecosystem. And really, every animal has a right really to live, a life in the wild. That's why we're saying we think we need to end this blood sport and really bring sanity to this sector so that wild animals are allowed to live, a peaceful life in the wild.
Thank you very much for those insights. That is Edith Kabesiime, and she is the Wildlife Campaign Manager at the World Animal Protection, and she's indicating some of the survey outcomes that spoke to the trophy hunting coming to an end in South Africa and promoting alternative forms of tourism for those who visit South Africa. But also the survey does highlight that it's not just trophy hunting. There's captive lion breeding as well as the use of cats for traditional medicine that are encompassed in this as well. Thank you very much for your time this evening.